I got a call, so much was going on in traffic management. A guy in Jasper had a mining accident. It was crushed his legs, and they wanted the Laflin to Deaconess down there in Evansville. Well, no problem with that. Oh no. A military guy came in, must have come from Grissom, they never did tell us. And he knew everything we did. He knew everything I did, he knew everything everybody in that building did. So he was in charge. We didn't do anything unless we asked him. Because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know we was been hacked, attacked, and I was going to let this lifeline go, and he said no. Tell them get an ambulance. Nobody, no helicopter, nothing's flying. So I don't know what happened to that guy. But at the same time, we heard that in Texas, Dallas, Texas, they had started a heart operation. Taking this guy's heart out, was another one that's been flowing over. And when it happened, they couldn't fly that heart over. It had to come by ambulance too. So it was all kind of little events like that on the side. With this, we turned off our digital surveillance radar, our computer-generated flight plans. Everything's computerized. And we had to go back to the old radar data processing, RDP, which I was trained in. A lot of our newer people wasn't, and that's kind of like the World War skin paint again. And this military guy said, don't take any handout. So Chicago Center called. We went back there over Lafayette. He was coming over Lafayette, Indiana. And I saw 5 uncoordinated data blocks out there. I said, man, I've never seen that before. And Chicago's calling, wanting to hand him off to that controller sitting behind the position. I said, no, you can't. They told him, man, he come running around the corner, that guy, you take them. You know, he told that supervisor and the controller there, he told him, you take that. Then we found out it was this. The tanker, that's a KC-130, air refueling. The president, he had 2 fighter jets and a communication plane behind him. They had taken off, they told everybody on TV he was at NORAD in Denver, but he went to Offutt in Nebraska. They had a nuclear-proof bomb shelter there. Then this thing slowed down about 4 o'clock when we knew we weren't under attack, or we assumed we were not. He came over, the military guy told us to take the handoff. We took the handoff, and the fighters were running low on fuel, escorting him. And this is where so we launched off Terre Haute at F4 to go replace one of the fighters because fuel was running loose. And I mean, that pilot, he hit the bricks, you know, I mean, hit everything he had coming off the ground. Probably hit 600-700 miles an hour. Went through the sound barrier and broke windows right there close to Terre Haute. So now that military guy and our manager is getting calls, Terre Haute's being bombed. You know, because you know, boom, boom. Sonic boom's usually 2 booms. So anyhow, we get him up there. He relieves the fighter over Muncie. The president's right there over Muncie. And then the guy was low on fuel, dove down. No, and he went coasting into Patterson Air Force Base. But when he went down below the VA medical hospital, and some farmer was burning his field. So now we got reports, airplane just flew into the VA hospital in Dayton, Ohio. So everything was going on that day. But I thought that was kind of funny when they said that. We held him, and then when we got all the fighters up there, he continued on. He did go out to Dulles and Langley and land. These were the true heroes of the. They had them in the back of the airplane, and when they attacked at 9:57, it crashed at 5:02. You know, it took them 2 or 3 minutes to get. They were fighting them. There was 5 terrorists, so 3 of us tried to hold them off. There was 2 in the cockpit, and then once he got in the cockpit, the guy tried to, you know, destabilize. That's a good word. The plane back, and it's and then 757s, it's a joystick. It's not a thing. So it was fighting, and without a doubt, they just nosed it over. They didn't have really much time to think about it. Probably 2 minutes of fighting up front, and people in the back never knew.
How did they know what happened about the tire? How did they know? Did they know?
The tire?
No, the people in that, did they know where the other planes had hit?
I don't think so. The one here, the stewardess, telephoned headquarters there and told them that they were being hijacked. They communicated a couple, but no one, I don't think these American 77 and United 93, I do not think they knew that the twin tires. Because the time frame was what, Chris? 8 something, and then the two that hit. I never did look how many minutes they had. United 93 was hijacked at 9:28. And when did they fly into the first tower?
And the last plane, Mark, remember some of them were calling home and telling their loved ones.
Yes. 9:45. It hit at 8:46. They departed 8:42. The United 93 that went into Pennsylvania,
Yes.
you know, they called home, because once they turned and the hijackers took over, yeah, they had, Chris and I was talking about that. They were hijacked at 9:28. That's when they forced everybody in the back. And that's when that one flight attendant was calling, and some people called their loved ones. Because the passengers didn't go after them until 9:57. So they had close to 20 minutes to make calls. Because there was about 70, how many of us back in the back? They couldn't see that the 3 terrorists pushing them back there, couldn't see that many. And the president, well, they crashed at what time? 10:02 into the field in Pennsylvania, and the president ordered all planes. Oh, you got it.
It took nearly 4.5 years to build the World Trade Center South Tower. But at 9:59 a.m. on September 11th, 2001, it only took 12 seconds for the 110-story building to fall.
Yeah, that one's the one who's trying to get to the White House, just like American 77. They would not have made it. And the jets, they had missiles, but them 2 Air National Guard, that was something. They had no missiles, and they were just going out looking for them. They would have found them too, but it was, the passengers took care of it.
30 minutes after the South Tower collapsed, while firefighters were still inside evacuating people from the North Tower, the North Tower came crashing down.
Jets coming in, and I looked up and the North Tower was starting to collapse. Turned around, ran as far north as I could, realized I was going to happen on this building, dove on the rig, waited until the debris had cleared, luckily enough to survive the collapse. Start to regroup, find out how many people we are missing, find out how many people we thought we lost. It was more important to them.
It was, I don't know if we showed, that's when, DEFCON 3 is when they, that's a nuclear attack could be imminent. That's the highest that the military went. So they, all across the world, we went to that. Because we really didn't know. We turned off our computers or radars even. Yeah, he was where he landed in New Orleans, no, somewhere down Louisiana. Then he took off and went to Nebraska. Then later in the afternoon, they wanted to get him back to Andrews. So that's when we got him and held him over Muncie till we could get the fighters together again. And then they took off from there, went back. Then I think he addressed the nation. What's the next one there? Well, that's that Building 7, doesn't get talked about very much. So yeah, 4 hours after we was working, he was addressing the nation in Washington. Chris found these nice pentagons on the bottom right and the names that are on the left.
Mark, how long a shift did you work that day? It sounded like you were there.
Oh, I was in there till probably the next day sometime. Because we didn't know, you know, another thing too, when I got there late, they'd already, a snowplow can cover your car. If your car was here, the snowplow would be up here. They had them at all the gates.
Yeah.
Anybody come around that corner didn't stop. You know, they had guys sitting in them snowplows. They was going to push them back because they was afraid they might going to blow us up too.
Yeah.
Because we had no idea. I was there for over 24 hours. Stacy, our local, Tell City girl, she was well, Chris knows a lot more about that. She was in the North Tower, I think, right?
Work for Kenner Fitzgerald. Kenner Fitzgerald, or like that. We have a monument for her. You all probably know this. I can tell you, down at Veterans Sunset Park for Stacy, and then her name is also engraved on the border around the reflecting ponds there. Something I learned interesting that on their birthday, they actually put a white flower in the name of that. It was turned out there. I didn't know that, so I guess it's true. I'm sure many of you have probably been there and have seen her name. I've never got a chance to go into the museum itself up there, but I hope to one day just to see it.
And she got to call home and talk to her mother, right?
Yeah.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Talk to her or left a message.
I don't know.
I heard they were talking, and she was telling her mom, talking to her,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the phone went dead.
There's a lot of stories out there. I mean, if you want to, learn or want to know more, if you just YouTube, you can get some really good.
For months and for months and months after this event, everywhere the president went, because of Bin Laden and what they were finding out, how he wanted to kill the president, they would fly a tanker, 2 fighters, would come in, like he flew into Cincinnati. I set him up several times, but I remember the Cincinnati one well. He flies in to give a talk at the convention center. Well, we shut the airport, he lands, no problem. He gets out, goes away, we open the airport back up. See, Cincinnati was underneath Indianapolis Center. And we bring the fighters over here, and the refueler there, and we sit there, and if anybody departs Cincinnati, controllers are very well trained. If they deviate in, or if they stop talking until the handoff, then fighters were armed, and if anybody took off Cincinnati, was going to bank right and go to that convention center, they would not have made it. So we set these up all over, God, for months. They'd follow him everywhere he went. So one day, at Cincinnati, I'm sitting there, and we got the fighters. We've done this before. It's common. And all of a sudden, here comes this little slow guy, 4-engine P3 Aurora. I'm familiar with them from the military. They were anti-submarine, very slow. And it's an L188 Electra that crashed up here at Millstone. And I said, what the military guy said, that plane's older than dirt, you know. What the hell is it doing over Cincinnati? And it's not secret or nothing anymore. But they took an airplane just like the one that crashed at Millstone, outfitted it with all their super frequencies and listening. And what that plane, that little slow Orion, just circled Cincinnati, listening for kill, bomb, explode. So, you know, we got Alexa at home, and you got smart TVs today, you know. But back then, 2001, if you was on a payphone or a walkie-talkie and said the word blow him up, they were listening there. And naturally, they had police on the ground and all that. I found that amazing because I was interested because the P3, what can they possibly do? Then that's when the guy told me they were listening for anybody to say anything. And then they would have. So that was something that 9/11 I found interesting too. Chris, this is Chris's PowerPoint. He could have done this better than me, probably.
The 2 National Guards that were on the suicide mission, they did special recognition, because I'd never heard that.
No, they both, the pilot, the male just recently retired, like just a few months ago. And then they gave him recognition, and then, I don't know, I can't answer that. They should have.
Yeah, they should have.
I mean,
willing to give their life.
Yeah, they
should
took
have.
off with no missiles. Because, see, we had ours, arm ours. Well, not ours, but our missiles to come off Patterson. Then Cleveland, I don't know where Cleveland sent theirs from. They were close. Cleveland was closer than we were to the Pennsylvania crash. But it went like that, and so they took care of that. Yes.
How much of a problem was it to get everyone back in the air after all these days? I don't remember how many days it was.
Well, they
I
said
was
3
gonna
days,
ask
though,
this
something. Well, we shut down at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, so nothing Wednesday, nothing Thursday, but sometime, I thought it was 3 days, but I'm hearing now some flights went out Thursday afternoon, 48 hours. It could have been trips to Hawaii or, because you got to understand, I mean, there was thousands and thousands of people in Terre Haute, Indiana, or Wyoming.
At the airport.
She was in the airport at Louisville.
In Louisville.
And Southwest didn't fly for over a week. I ended up driving home to Florida. But my question really was, from an air traffic control perspective, how much of a problem was it to re-up the system and get the system back up and running to
Yeah.
get all these-
Once we could turn our computers on and have the digital
No problem.
radar, I mean, you could, just like UPS in Louisville, we'll sit there and run 110 airplanes in there in less than an hour. Dual runways. Now, see, Denver's got 3 runways, Louisville, but we would take FedEx out of Indianapolis, and they'd run like an hour and a half once they redo it. They'd line 110 airplanes out. No, that wasn't the problem. But of course, when we had so many, we kept them straight. Nobody went direct. See, normally we'd cut corners, but with that many airplanes, everybody get in a row. If you want to, what is it? That one older controller said. If you want to march in the parade, gotta keep up, or something like that.
As an aside, we happened to be over in Louisville back just as COVID was coming out. And we were at the Brown Hotel, just having a night, I think it was a birthday night or whatever. And we bumped into a guy in the lobby and started chatting with him, and we decided to go have a beer. Turned out he was a Southwest Airline captain. And he was about, I'd say 45, something like that. We got to talking, and we're both prior Air Force, and so we had a connection there. And as it turns out, this guy, who's now a senior captain, was a fresh out first lieutenant F-15 pilot on 9/11.
Whoa.
And he said he was scrambled to escort Bush in Air Force One. And he said, I was never so scared in my life as being armed with missiles that were hot, flying next to
Yeah.
Air Force One, hoping I didn't push the wrong button.
Yeah. Well, I could see that. I could understand that because just like that guy off Terre Haute, he was F4, not an F-15. That's a better airplane. But that F4, he had to go 600. They blew windows out right there. That's when we started getting calls. Terre Haute was being bombed.
So I think
But,
this guy
yeah,
was out of Langley probably.
Yeah, Langley had the F-15. And they would have rammed them. I mean, because Bush ordered, you know, we didn't have, that's what really surprises me too, after an hour and a half of just, usually I'm captain, no, I'm not landing in Annapolis, or I'm not going to Dayton. And then the controllers were very nice. You got 1 minute, sir, to call company, or you're landing in Annapolis. You know, and no more questions, you know, we don't have time for this. So it was very professional, but the passengers, like somebody was telling me, they were renting hotels, not hotel rooms. You know, American and all that, because they had passengers that had to put them up. They couldn't sleep in the airport for 2 or 3 days.
My friend was in the Indianapolis airport, waiting to fly to Hawaii that day. And